very few people consider themselves different to their arms and legs and heads and the rest of their bodies, and even fewer people consider themselves different to their own minds. This would like to begin that just like when I say my mind, it's same as if saying my instrument. So I'm equally the mind as I'm the instrument. It's a thing that I use. Now the yoga discipline deals a whole lot with the mind, and the thing about the mind is three. Well, actually, there are many things, but I'll mention three. Three, and the fourth will be hopefully solution. But there are some problems. Actually, there's a whole lot of problems when one identifies oneself with one's mind, or goes to one extreme, which is to hey, dude, you went out of your mind. In other words, you can't completely cut the connection with your mind. You can't get rid of the thing. I mean, it's always with you, and yet when it's with you, it tends to give a lot of, well, I guess relatively a lot of problems. Problem number one that I'd like to bring to your attention is illustrated by a story of coconut chutney. No, not chutney, but pakora. Now, you may not know what a pakora is anyways, it doesn't matter. But the thing is that anything you make out of coconut, especially pakora, tastes great. But coconut is very, very difficult to digest. I don't know if you ever had any indigestion pains. I mean, it's horrible, as if you're eating glass. It's like that. It's very sharp pain. It's not going away until you digest it. And the thing is, you can't digest it. So you're stuck with the thing in the digesting really slow and giving you a whole lot of sharp pain. So what happens is, in the process of eating these pakoras, you were told, and we're not going to serve them here, by the way, so you don't need to worry. The problem is that you were told, okay, these, green coconut pakoras, this is an amazing thing, but take it easy. Take it easy because they're very difficult to digest. So you say, okay, cool, I'll take one. You pop it in your mouth and you think, oh wow, this is tasting so wonderfully, and your mind is going all trembling in ecstasy and experiencing all kinds of emotional transformations, and tells you, take one more. And you're thinking, well, okay, I'll take one more. And then after the second one, oh, I'm just warming up. Take a third one, And but you're thinking, my God, I was told it's very difficult to digest. I'm going to have problems. I'm going to experience pain. But the mind says, anyways, one more. What's going to be the harm? Then after you've eaten 10th one, the mind tells you, dude, anyways, you already sunk to the bottom. Might as well go for it all the way. Take another 10. That's how people end up junkies, heroin addicts and stuff. Same principle, same guy, your own mind, And then what happens when you hit the rock bottom, when all the bad consequences hit upon you? Then the very same guy turns against you and tells you, you pathetic piece of... Bleep. You're good for nothing. You can't even control your senses. And it just turns against you. It's the very same guy who told you to do it. Now, why do you think of a person who tells you to do a thing, and then you do it, and then right after it turns against you and says, you idiot? Same thing happened to me as a teenager when a first girlfriend ditched me. I was thinking, my mind was going against me. You're good for nothing. The girls even don't like you. You have no future. Might as well just kill yourself. Dig a hole and hide yourself in it. And then the next girlfriend I had, I was carefully watching all the symptoms. I could ditch her before she ditched me. What a painful, what a painful state of affairs. Why? Only because you married this stupid guy called the mind.
Worse than marriage.
So this is one aspect of the mind. It tells you to do a thing, and then it turns against you, and it pushes you further down. And people commit suicides and engage in all kinds of destructive activities. Destructive activities. Now, the other quality of the mind is that
or distractive.
destructive.
Both.
I guess both.
Distracted, destructive.
The other quality of it is that it's never satisfied. It's a master that you cannot please. How many of you have a boss at work like that? Who are you working for?
The mind.
Imagine, having a master you cannot please. If you don't please the beast, it's all over you, and it's demanding, and more you provide, it has no respect, and ultimately cannot be satisfied. I mean, no matter what you may provide, no matter. I mean, I a few years ago watched a very interesting interview with some wealthy people in south of LA somewhere, and these people are worth several million, lowest category, and none of them thought that they had enough. Not a single one of them. And they were thinking, oh, it's so expensive to live these days. Some even pointed to their neighbors. What do you think? What is it like living in this neighborhood? When you know that your first neighbor is worth $1 billion. It's just the master that's never satisfied. And then the third thing is that, as I said earlier, you cannot cut the relationship with this thing, because if you cut your relationship with this thing, you're out of your mind. Simply put. Okay. Then the other thing is, if you don't cut the relationship, this thing guides you all over the place. Imagine yourself being tied to a tail of a mad horse, and just dragging you all over. If it drags you through poop, that's what you're being dragged through, And if you drag through soft pillows, then okay, it's soft pillows. So similar to this mind, wherever the thing goes, if the thing is sad, you're sad. If the thing is jolly, you're jolly. And the thing goes sad again. And the thing is that the mind is not a rational thing. So no matter, you may even ask for help. And like I know people come to me ask for help, and you try to give some rational advice, but you're talking to a mind. You're talking to a person who's been happily or unhappily married to a mind, and it doesn't matter what you say. The logic just doesn't help, because the person's married to an unreasonable beast called the mind, and the mind just goes whatever, sour, sad, happy, whatever the emotion is, and just drags you through it. Where's your freedom? That's why one of the first principles of yoga is to not cut the relationship with the mind, but to gain the upper hand. In other words, you need to be in control of this beast. You absolutely need to be in control of this beast. I mean, I was so happy when I pulled out of teenage and when I didn't have to fear being ditched by a girl, because I lost the exploitative mentality and just divorce myself from these tendencies of the mind. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Actually, there's no other problems in this world besides the mental problem. There's no other problem, period. So, the simple steps to deal with this beast are 4. Well, actually, you could say many, but I kind of boiled them down to 4 after studying all these different principles of yoga. 3 of these, you're completely in charge. And 3 of these are the 3 that you can absolutely do. And then the 4th one comes about automatically. So the first one is to ignore the mind. You have to ignore the mind. You need to learn to ignore the mind. And the first step before this will, of course, to see the difference between you and your mind. I mean, you can observe the activities of this thing. It's totally a separate entity. Just lives under the same roof. That's the problem. It's not even a neighbor. Sometimes when you have a bad neighbor, that's kind of a bad deal. But to have a bad guy live under the same roof. So that's the first thing. You see that it's a separate entity, and then learn to ignore it. Now, what do you do? What do you do when you ignore someone? What do you do to that person when you ignore that person?